Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Molecular Kitchen, where we cook and also really curious about the science of cooking. And in this week's episode we are going to prepare different dishes of eggs and explore the science of eggs. So let's get started.
Hello everyone, this is Rituparna. I'm very excited about this video. This whole week we are making different egg videos. If you like eggs, you probably know it goes really well with other things like potatoes, onion, bread, etc. And it's so versatile. It goes as breakfast, snack, lunch, dinner, you just name it. So I cooked it with different ingredients to make different taste and texture, because you cannot eat the same thing every day, right? So let's get started. This is frittata. In Italian it means fried, but we baked it. This one is poached egg. It's basically poached in water. Scrambled eggs scrambled with milk to make it yummy. Saksuka poached in onion and other spicy gravy. And this one is my favorite one, boiled eggs. Today we are making frittatas. It's an Italian dish. To make it we need some eggs, milk, cheese, potato and salt. And I have also added some onions and spinach. Now let's break the eggs. And I have added quite a bit of eggs because we love the dish, so I am making in a big batch. So what we need to do is add some salt in it, and I will whisk it till it's become a little bit airy, because that's the key to make it fluffy. And I'm also will be adding some dairy products to it, like cheese and some milk, to give it a nice creamy texture. Also whisking it. Now I'll set it aside and chop the veggies. Some onion and potato, those are my favorite in this dish. I have also added some spinach. While everything is ready, we'll mix everything together and whisk it again. I have preheated the oven to 350 degrees and greased the pan. It's a silicone pan, so I haven't needed to do it, but I did it to get a crisp, the bottom side to be crispy. Now I'm filling everything, and this is going in the preheated oven. Well, it's done now. It looks good. So I have inserted the toothpick and it came out clean. Now I'm serving the breakfast. I love it, as I said, and I'm really getting ready to dig in the breakfast.
Now let's talk about eggshells. Eggshells are mainly made of calcium carbonate, this compound. A calcium carbonate is white, and that's why you see most of the eggs are white, but I'm sure you also have seen some eggs are brownish in color. The brown coloration in eggs comes from a compound called proto-porphyrin, and these kind of porphyrin compounds are really abundant in nature. For example, if you add iron there, it will become heme, and that's in your blood, and that's why it's red. Your blood is red. Now if you add magnesium there, it becomes greenish, and that's chlorophyll, and it's in leaves. So yeah, porphyrins are everywhere. Now why magnesium makes you green and iron makes you red, that's food for thought. Now coming back to the egg cells. Some egg cells are also greenish or bluish in color, and that happens because this compound called oocyanin, so that is responsible for these kind of coloration.
Today is Tuesday, so I am making poached eggs for breakfast, and I'm boiling some water in a frying pan. Well, I'm just waiting for the water to boil. Now I'll be adding some salt and vinegar to the water. Now just slowly dropping the eggs in the boiling water. Also, I have left the heat on medium. This is just a bit tricky. Almost touching the water, you have to drop the egg, and the vinegar will help the egg white to cook really fast. It looks nice. I love the look of it, how the protein part is slowly getting cooked and covering the yolk. I think the yolk is still runny. Let's see. This is the moment of truth. I think I will enjoy it. So the breakfast is done.
Now let's look inside the eggs. Eggs are primarily made of two part, egg whites, and that's the outer part, and center part is egg yolk. And the white part contains a lot of proteins, and these kind of proteins have different functionalities. For example, ovomucin makes the egg white really thicky. Also, corn albumin binds to iron and protects the egg from infection. Now let's talk about the yellow part, the yolk part. The yolk part contains a lot of vitamin, fatty acid like palmitic acid, linoleic acid, also cholesterol, and of course pigments like carotenoid pigments, for example lutein, zeaxanthin, carotene. These kind of compounds make it really yellowish color.
On Wednesday's menu we have scrambled eggs. Easy, right? So for that we have some eggs, milk, salt and pepper. I am adding the eggs one by one in a big pot, so it's easy to whisk them all together. Yeah, just scrambling eggs is so easy. Just one thing to keep in mind is the heat, because that's the only tricky part in it. You just have to cook everything on low heat to get the smooth texture. I'm adding some salt in the whisking eggs. Now some milk. This will give it a nice and creamy texture. I love it. You can also skip it if you don't like milk in your scrambled eggs. Again, just whisking everything together. I have a stock of green onion. I'll be using only the green part today. So just chopping it in finer tiny pieces. It adds a nice green color to the scrambled eggs, which I like. Now whisking everything together in a frying pan, I'm adding some oil and just heating that up, and in that hot oil will go the egg mixture. Just the only thing to keep in mind while I'm cooking this dish is the heat. I'll be cooking it on low heat, and you can see it will start cooking on the edges really fast. So I'll be scraping that off the edge and mixing together, just scrambling all around. It won't take much time, maybe 3-4 minutes, and that's it. You just have to be patient and be there and just keep on stirring it. I love the fluffiness of egg, so this is my always favorite dish. Anyways, I love it, so I can never get bored of eating eggs. If you love eggs, you know that it is so versatile. Well, it's done now, and I will be taking it and serving it on a plate. Just one small dash of fresh ground black pepper, and it's done. My breakfast is ready. Right now I am plating my breakfast. I've also chopped some mushrooms and fried it. That will go as my breakfast as well. And I love avocados. It's basically a fruit. It does have a buttery and nutty flavor. So I am just twisting it open, and I just need a few slices of it. So I'm de-seeding it. It's very easy also. Look at the buttery texture it has. Now my breakfast is complete.
Now let's talk about egg shape. Egg shapes, it's oval, or is it? Because in 2017, some scientists from USA and other part of the world, they published an article in the reputed journal Science, and there they were really curious about the egg shapes. So what they did, they actually studied 50,000 eggs, and that's from 14,000 different eggs, bird species, and they're trying to understand why some eggs are really spherical, for example owl's egg, or why some eggs are really oval or asymmetric or elliptic. There are different theories of egg shapes. So one of the theory is that because the egg shapes are asymmetric or elliptical, they do not roll easily like spherical. If you roll a ball, it will just go, right? But if you let but the eggs, because of their shape, they do not roll well. So that's why it's really advantageous for the birds in terms of evolutionary point of view, that it will not roll off a cliff and it will not be broken. So that's the advantage. Now also there is another factor is the calcium conservation. In some places there is low calcium, and to make the egg cells you need a lot of calcium carbonate. But if it is if you make the egg spherical, then you need, because the sphere has lowest surface area for a given volume, you need lower amount of calcium, and that's why in places where you have lower calcium minerals, the egg shapes tends to be little bit of sphericals.
Today we'll be making saksuka. It's a Tunisian dish, and I fell in love with this dish when I first time had it. So to make this we need some onions, eggs, of course, green chilies, tomatoes and garlic. we'll be chopping everything except for the eggs, of course. And I will also need some salt, turmeric powder, some cumin seed, coriander powder, cumin powder and coriander powder, and some oil. I've chopped the tomatoes, onion, garlic and green chilies. So we are ready to cook. In a frying pan, I'm adding some oil. In the hot oil goes the cumin seeds first, then some chopped onions, saute it for a while, and I'm adding the salt to it just to get the onions cooked faster. I'm adding the garlic and saute it as well. Then goes some green chilies, also cooking it with everything else, and the tomatoes. We need to cook everything together until everything is softened and gets mushy. Now I'm adding some turmeric powder to it and sauteing. I'm adding all the spices one at a time, and then sauteing well. I've added the cumin powder and sauteing it. Now in goes the coriander powder. You can add chili powder if you like it really hot. In goes some chopped coriander. This gravy looks good. I think I need some more cooking time because the onion and tomatoes are still not soft. This I'll be covering and cooking it with some water in it. Water will help cooking the onion and the tomatoes and also other spices, and blend it together. I think I needed some more water, so I have added some more because the moisture in this dish is very important, because what you are going to do is cook or poach the eggs in this gravy. So we have to be sure that we have a sufficient amount of moisture in it. At this time I am reducing the heat to low, because otherwise the eggs will not be cooked thoroughly. I'm adding the eggs directly in the gravy. You can also bake it in the oven, but I'm cooking it on the stove top. I love this dish so much that I can even have it as lunch with some rice. I used to have it like that. So I am sprinkling some fresh ground peppers and some salt on top of the eggs. And then I'll be covering it and cook it. And I'm showing the glimpse in between. It took me about 25 minutes or so to cook it. As you can see, the yolk is almost cooked now, and there is still some moisture left in the dish. So I'll add the lid on and cook it for a little while until it's ready. Now it's ready, and I'm serving my breakfast. This goes really well with some toast. That's how I am eating it today. See, that's my breakfast today.
But the scientists in that science paper, they claim that what really matters is the flight ability of a bird. If a particular bird has more flight, then the egg shapes are more pointed or asymmetric, and that is because they think that if birds fly, their body shapes are much more streamlined and the organs are kind of squashed and minimized. And because of that organ shapes, when the birds lay eggs, there's two kind of forces from outside, from the oviduct of the birds, and forces from inside of the egg. Of these two forces, that's what make the shape of eggs.
Okay, we made it to the last day of the week and I'm boiling some eggs. Really easy. And I'm cooking it in the pressure cooker just so that it gets the job done really fast. All the eggs are in there. I'm starting with 5 eggs and I'll be stopping in between to show how the eggs are cooking with different heat. I heard the pressure building in the pressure cooker, so now I'm just taking the lid off, of course after releasing the pressure, and just dropping the egg in ice cold water. That will help with two things. First is just hardening the cell, and also it stops the cooking process. Otherwise it's almost impossible for me to take the cell off without making a mess. I am aiming for a perfectly runny yolk with the protein part nice and cooked. It always brings a smile on my face with the look of that runny yolk. Well, we have passed this taste. Let's see how we are doing the others. I'll turn the heat on, and after one whistle, I'm taking another egg out and right into the ice water. Actually, I took 2 eggs for both of us. So now see if it's a perfectly cooked egg or not. I want a bright orange egg yolk, and yes, it is. See, it's nice and cooked both inside and outside. So I want to see what happens if there's more heat. After another whistle, I think it will make a hard-boiled egg. So I'm dropping it in the ice water just to get the cell hard. Now it's coming off so easily, like butter, really smooth. I think this will make a hard-boiled egg. Yes, as you can see, the yolk is yellow in color, good and cooked. And I also left one in the hot oil with the pressure cooker lid on, so this one got cracked. I think maybe because of the heat or the pressure, I'm not sure, but let's look at this one. The yolk turned light grayish or greenish in color. The camera is not doing any justice to it, but I have a good picture of this one. I'll show it later. We did a fun test in here. Here I have a hard-boiled egg. I'm spinning it and it is spinning like a champ. On another hand, I have one raw egg. Let's see how it spins. Oh, it's having a hard time spinning. It's just a fun test my husband asked to do. So we have all the eggs with all the egg yolks different looking. As you can see, we did quite a test and we are left with a lot of eggs today. This is our breakfast. I'm just having it with some salt and pepper. That's our Friday breakfast. Yeah, it's going to be heavy. Thanks for watching the video.
If you like our videos, please consider subscribing it. Also, if you have any questions, suggestions, you can comment below, and we'll be happy to answer. See you next week with some new cooking and new science. Bye bye.